Hi, I'm Craig Schombacher, Interactive Director with Taylor. Welcome to Conversations with Glen Taylor. This video series includes interviews with Glen, Larry Taylor, and other family and friends who know him best. I hope you enjoy these interviews as we explore Glen's childhood, farm life, school in rural Comfrey, Minnesota, and the competitiveness that makes Glen who he is. Enjoy.
My childhood really was very good. I loved it, everything about it. I know that we were very poor as a family at that time. The truth is, everybody around us was about the same. So I didn't ever think that we were poor. I thought we were just like everybody else. My grandpa passed away in '49, and we got to move to a farm that Grandpa had farmed. And it was a big deal because we had electricity. We had running water in the house.
And at that time, that was been pretty modern. My grandfather had put indoor plumbing in quite a few years before that. And so I only knew indoor plumbing. The rest, all my older brothers and sisters, got to learn the other way as well. The outhouse was still out behind the house, but it wasn't used anymore.
Now, we didn't have a big house, so we had 5 boys, and we all slept in the same room. In later years, I went back and looked at that house and looked at that bedroom. And I can see now why I slept with my brother, and we were kind of against the wall. My other brothers, 2 of them slept in there. They were against the other wall. And we had a little runway in between to crawl in bed. So it's a real small bedroom made for 1 person probably.
It was a 3-bedroom house. I was number 6. There was 5 boys and 1 girl ahead of me. And the 5 boys shared 1 bedroom. 2 boys to the bed. I was in the crib long enough to remember being in a crib. And then we took the dining room downstairs, converted it into a bedroom. My folks moved down there, and so then the boys were able to split between 2 small bedrooms.
By our heads, we had an old fruit crate, and that was our dresser, or kind of. We put a radio on there. The radio had no cover on it. It was just the guts. That's all. I don't know where we found it, but it was just had the guts. And I can remember back and then that we turned that on and put our heads real close to it and listened to the Lakers games and the different things like that.
And we just had fun. You know, we'd play games out in the woods, chasing each other and running around. Doing those things. It was, yeah, we have good memories. Yeah, there were times of arguments and maybe some fights, but they were few and far between. It was mainly good times.
At the end of a week of chopping wood, milking cows, canning food, or whatever jobs needed to be done on the farm, time was made for relaxing with family. There were always cousins directly across the road, as well as other family and friends close by, to share a meal or a game of horse on Sunday afternoons.
Our social life was really my aunts and uncles, and it really was a Sunday deal. So on Sunday Saturday was a work day. Sunday you went and visited one of your aunts and uncles and your cousins, and you played with them. And again, it was always sports, competitiveness. They were about the same age, so it was really good. It was really a fun time because to get cooking by somebody else when you're a boy, and they would be a lot of good things cooked. You remember eating the food and the competition.
And very often, the folks would meet some friends and they'd say, well, come on over for Sunday dinner. And my dad had a expression when we had unexpected guests like that. It was FHB, family hold back. In other words, don't take so much so the rest of our company could at least have something to eat. But that was pretty common. It was just small town families that all knew each other and did things together, especially church-related things.
If I just take all of the things when I was young, it was just all good. I liked it.
With daily chores and the demands of the small 160-acre farm, getting away as a family was a challenge. There was one vacation when everyone loaded up and spent the weekend at a lake in Alexandria, Minnesota. I asked Glenn what he remembered about that trip.
I can't remember why we would take a vacation. But I know that we loaded up. I mean, I don't know where the money came from, or my dad worked so hard he got a bonus or something. But it was the lake up in by Alexandria, and we got to go up there. Our little car, we had kind of like a little coupe car, and you know, so it was just packed in there, and you put the stuff in. Mom put the stuff in there. So we drove up there. That was a long ways. That was a big deal to go up to Alexandria, Minnesota. And we went up there. It was a vacation for us boys, and we got movies of it. We even have movies of a kind of a little thing. Well, we have movies of my brother, but we had a little bit. And it was a rinky-dink little cabin. I mean, it was a junky little cabin. We had to sleep on the floor. So I assumed there was one bedroom for our mom and dad. I assumed Larry was little, Warren was little, so Mom, it couldn't have been a vacation for her at all, you know. So she had to take care of those two. We were supposed to take care of them, you know. I mean, the older kids are supposed to take care of them. I can remember this. The ice box was a real ice box where you put ice in. You ever see one of those square things? And that was your keep it cool. We bought ice and put into there for the refrigerator. That was your refrigerator. Roger fished. My older brother fished, and all he had is a little boat and an oar. And I don't remember that we had two oars. All I remember, he always had this one oar. It was like, and he probably got out 20 feet out there. So it wasn't very far, but it was a big deal. I tell you, it was, I don't know. I can remember like he could remember we did it, but how did we do it and why did we get there? It was, that's the part. I can remember loading up and going up there. I can remember loading up and coming back, but I don't know why we got it. It's just so out of place. Out of place of things we ever did.
As I was preparing for interviews with Glenn, Larry told me to make sure to ask Glenn about the basketball rabbit. It was worth the ask.
We lived across the road from my cousins. And Pam was in 4-H, and she was a year older. We're like brothers and sisters because she's a year older, and we went on dates together. And so I didn't date her, but we went on dates together. We played together and stuff. And she still is. We still are the same way. But we were in 4-H, and she got a rabbit. And it was kind of a different rabbit. I mean, these are these pet rabbits, so it's mostly brown, but it had a couple of black stripes. In a way, when it humped up, it was like a basketball. So we call it the basketball rabbit, stuff like this here. And that was our 4-H, but that was our 4-H animal. And so one day, I mean, we just lived across the road, and Bootsy, our dog, who's a rat terrier, so they go after stuff, came up, and it had the basketball rabbit in its mouth, and the rabbit was dead. And it was this kind of, I think all of us 3 boys were there together, and we said, uh-oh, my dad's going to be so mad at Bootsy for killing that rabbit. So it goes, well, we don't tell, we don't tell my dad. Whatever we're going to do, you don't tell Dad. So Mother called us. I can remember Mother called us. Supper time, get in there. Okay, everybody, and you don't stall around. Mother calls supper time. You get in there. So we got in there, went upstairs, put the rabbit underneath our shirt, went upstairs and put the rabbit under the bed, came down, we all ate. Supper's over, we all go upstairs. So, you know, Mom and Dad didn't come upstairs or hardly ever, when us boys were there. Got the rabbit out, threw it in the bathtub, and gave it a really good wash, because it was dirty and stuff like that. And we washed it and cleaned it all up. Rabbit looked pretty good, except he was dead. We went downstairs, put the rabbit under your shirt, went downstairs, we went back in our lawn, and in the back of the lawn was a cornfield. Went into our cornfield, went down the road, but we stayed in the cornfield, went across the road, the gravel road, went into their cornfield, went all the way down, around, came back into their farm place. We knew, I mean, you know been over there, know exactly what you have to do, where the trees are lined up, that they can't see you, you know, and all that stuff. We did that. Took the rabbit, put it back in the rabbit cage. Snuck out, did the whole thing, got back, saved. We made it. We made it. We got the rabbit back over there. Okay, the next day, it was kind of early in the morning. We were having breakfast, and Rosalind, that's Pam's mom, calls up my mom. And you have those little phones on the wall and stuff like this here. Sammy, my mom, Sammy, come on over here, would you? What? I want you to come over here. And of course, we're all kind of, why is Rosalind calling our mom? You know, ears stuck in breakfast. Mom finishes breakfast, gets out, walks out of the house, starts down the driveway, nice day, all that stuff. We get behind her. It's like a little train. We're following her like a little train. Where is she going to go? So she goes over to Rosalind's. Rosalind comes out of the house, and meets her kind of like on the steps. And she says, I don't know if they said something other than that, but, you know, Basketball Rabbit, he's dead. You know, like my mom says, Rosalind, we're farm girls. I mean, we know about that. Lots of things die. So why did you ask me to come over here if the rabbit died? And you got to tell me this. No. And Rosa said, you don't understand. He died earlier this week. We took him out in the grove and we buried him, and now he's back in his cage. He's back in his cage like nothing happened to him. And we're all standing there like a bunch of kids. Oh, I think it's time to go home. We never said a word all those years. So, it was it's funny. It was funny, but we had to get a distance away from our mom. I told the story when I was probably 20 years later, when I was doing the graduation talk at Comfrey. They asked me to do the graduation talk over there. So I did it all. You know, I mean, like kids go to college, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So then I kind of sit up, tell the story to my family, that all the cousins have been worried about how did that rabbit get there. So, God, that was funny though at the time.